Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dear students, our lesson today is Chapter 1, Decimal Numbers, Part 2. At the end of this video, we will be able to recognize that if A less than B and C less than D, then A plus C less than B plus D. Recognize that if A less than B and C greater than 0, then A times C less than B times C. Recognize that if A less than B and C less than 0, then A times C greater than B times C. And to recognize that if A and B are non-zero numbers having same sign, and if A less than B, then 1 over A greater than 1 over B. In this chapter, we will need paper, pencil, calculator, and your textbook edition 2012 or 2017. In the first objective, if we have two numbers A and C that are less than another two numbers B and D respectively, so if we add the first two terms, we have to add the second two terms. So we will have A plus C and B plus D. But since the sign of the comparison is less than, we will write A plus C less than B plus D. So our rule is if A less than B and C less than D, then A plus C less than B plus D. For example, if A equal 1, B equal 2, C equal 3, and D equal 4, does these numbers satisfy our rule? Let's see. Since 1 less than 2 and 3 less than 4, then we will add the first two terms, so we will have 1 plus 3, and the last two terms we will have 2 plus 4. And since the sign of comparison is less than, we write less than. So we will have 1 plus 3 less than 2 plus 4, where 1 plus 3 equal 4 and 2 plus 4 equal 6. Here we have an application about this objective. Please pause this video and try to solve this application. Solution. If m less than 2 and n less than 3, so we will have to add the first two terms m plus n, and we have also to add the second two terms 2 plus 3. So we will have m plus n and 2 plus 3, and the sign of comparison is less than, so m plus n less than 2 plus 3, so m plus n less than 5. The second and third objective. If a number is less than another number, and we multiply both numbers by a positive number, the sign of comparison stays as it is. But if we multiply by a negative number, the sign of comparison must be changed. So our properties are, if A less than B and C greater than 0, then A times C less than B times C. And if A less than B and C less than 0, then A times C greater than B times C. For example, complete. If 2 less than 3, then 2 times 5 less than what? Let's see. If 2 less than 3, then 2 times 5 less than 3 times 5. Why? Since we multiplied 2 by 5, so due to our rule, we must also multiply the second term by the same number, which is 5. And since 5 is positive number, so we didn't change the sign of comparison. And 2 times 5 equal 10, and 3 times 5 equal 15, so we will have 10 less than 15. Part 2. If x less than 3, then 2 times x less than what? X less than 3, and 2 times x less than 2 times 3. Since we multiplied x by 2, so we have to multiply also 3 by 2, and 2 is a positive number, so we keep the sign of comparison as it is. Part 3. If y greater than 2, then minus 4 times y is greater than or less than minus 8. So, if y is greater than 2 and minus 4 times y, so we multiplied y by minus 4, so we must multiply 2 by minus 4. Then we will have minus 4 times y and minus 4 times 2. And since minus 4 is a negative number, then we must change the sign of comparison from greater than to less than. So we will have minus 4 times y less than minus 4 times 2. So minus 4 times y less than minus 8, where minus 4 times 2 is equal to minus 8. And here we have an application about this objective. Please pause this video and try to solve this application. Solution. Part 1. if a greater than -2 and b less than 0, then b times a greater than or less than -2b. So here we multiplied a by b, and we must multiply -2 by b also. So we will have b times a and b times -2. Then, since b is negative, is less than 0, then we have to change the sign of comparison from greater than to less than. So we will have b times a less than b times -2, and b times -2 is equal to -2b. Part 3. If c greater than 3 and d greater than 0, then c times d less than or greater than 3d. So, since d is greater than 0, so it's positive, so we have to keep the sign of comparison as it is. It is greater than, so we will keep it greater than. And we multiplied c by d and 3 by d. So we will have c times d greater than 3 times d, and c times d greater than 3d, since 3 times d equal to 3d. Now the last objective. If a number a is less than number b, where a and b having same sign, then the inverse or reciprocal of a is greater than the inverse or reciprocal of b. So we will have this property. If a and b are non-zero numbers having same sign, then if a less than b, then 1 over a, the inverse of a, will be greater than the inverse of b, 1 over b. For example, complete. If x less than 3 with x greater than 0, then 1 over x greater than or less than 1 over 3. So, x less than 3 and x greater than 0. This means that x is positive and 3 is positive. So x and 3, both terms have the same sign. So due to our rule, the inverse of x will be greater than the inverse of 3. Part 2, if y greater than -4 with y less than 0. So here y is negative and -4 is negative. So they have the same sign. And since y is greater than -4, so due to our rule, the inverse of y will be less than the inverse of -4. So we will have 1 over y less than 1 over -4. And here we have an application about this objective. Please pause this video and try to solve this application. Solution. Here we have x is less than 0 and -2 is less than 0. So both terms are negative. So we verified the first condition of our property. Then, due to our rule, if x is greater than -2 and both having the same sign, then the inverse of x will be less than the inverse of -2. So we will have 1 over x less than -1 over 2. Your assignment. Review from the textbook pages 8, 9, and 10, edition 2017. Homework. From the textbook also solve exercises 23, 17, parts C and D, and 18, page 13, edition 2017. And please solve this extra exercise. Summary. Order of operation, parentheses, powers, multiplication and division from left to right, addition and subtraction from left to right. Order in decimal. If a less than b, then a plus c less than b plus c, and a minus c less than b minus c. If a less than b and b less than c, then a less than c. Then if a less than b and c less than d, then a plus c less than b plus d. If a less than b and c greater than 0, then a times c less than b times c. And if c less than 0, then a times c greater than b times c. The last property. A and b are non-zero numbers. A less than b, a and b having same sign, then 1 over a greater than 1 over b. Thank you for watching. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.